I would show them how to get on the website.
We did.
She told them, and it worked for me, so.
And also Tim did too. All right, so we will open this meeting of June 29th, 2011. Let the records be shown that also all the selectmen are present. I will immediately go into a motion to enter into non-public session as per RSA 91A:3. Personnel.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote?
Yes.
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 I move that the minutes of the non-public session as they pertain to personnel be sealed permanently.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I
Move
think...
we adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hell's that Pirates of the Caribbean?
Which one?
The first one. The Pirates rules were more like guidelines.
Oh. Really more like I like.
Yeah.
I liked him. He was my favorite character in that movie.
Who would have thought that they could have taken an amusement park ride and turned it into a 4-movie franchise?
Right.
Okay, we will open this meeting of June 30th, 2011. Let the records show that all selectmen are present, the time being 4:35. Okay, Tim, you're up.
Thanks. We've received the bank RFPs, which were due on the 29th at 2 o'clock, and we received 4. One from TD Bank North, one from Northway Bank, who's our current banking relationship, one from Franklin Savings Bank, and one from Citizens Bank. And the banks were notified in the RFP, which you had approved ahead of time, that these would be open tonight, accepted, and then we'd take them and do our analysis on these. And at a future date, prior to the 29th of July, I'll come in and present to you the findings of these, and if required, we can ask the banks to come in and do a presentation to the board as it applies to their individual proposal. So those will be taking place hopefully in later July, and then best case scenarios, we'll have a decision by the end of July and implement the change by the 1st of September. So that'll give us a month in between to get things cut over if in fact we do change. So if we could open those, or if you have time during your meeting to open those and just accept them, I'll be sure to take care of analyzing those. A couple of other little things. The new rates for New Hampshire retirement kick in on the next pay period. I've been in touch with White Rock Development as well as USDA Rural Development as far as the agreement goes with them. And USDA just had a few minor changes to one of the paragraphs, taking out 2 words to the agreement. So it was incredibly minor. The word remaining was struck. So pertaining to a balance. So I told them I had no problem with that. I didn't think anyone else would, because it was describing the current situation. In any event, so we're waiting on White Rock and their accounting to determine what monies are going to be used towards this betterment prepayment. Okay. And so that, hopefully that will be getting done in the next month or two. I have not had time to finalize anything with the Business Park Drive, but I hope to get that done very shortly and have something for you within the next meeting or two, but that it would start at the beginning of July. So it would be retro to July 1 if indeed we're able to reach the agreement.
And then this one.
And then the last 2 things, you'll note that there's no accounts payable on the table as yet, except for a confidential one. I've had a lot to do in the last few days, so I'm getting through it, but I may not have it all up to you tonight.
You didn't put your clone on that?
I know. Believe me, I wish I could have. But in any event, if I don't have it done tonight, I'll be sure to send out an email and ask that either if you could come in tomorrow once it's complete, or alternatively, if you just sign it prior to the treasurer signing it on Tuesday afternoon, that would suffice too. So I'll be sure to send out an email tomorrow regarding that. And that's primarily because in the to-be-signed folder is a request for paid time off for next week, the week of the ending, the last week of July, and then the week of August 22nd for me. I had cleared those dates with Joyce to do payroll, and they're on the calendar downstairs, but I don't think I'd ever actually put the form before you, so
Okay.
and that's what I have.
Okay, so we're just putting these into the record, and then we're going to disseminate the information.
That's correct. If you'd
All
like
right.
to look through them tonight.
So for the record, we have a RFP back from Franklin Savings Bank, one from Citizens Bank, one from Northway Bank, and one from TD Bank.
Oh, is it just both of them the same?
Yes.
Okay.
And Tim will get back to us with the information. Great.
I just want to note the reason for really doing this. There's a statement, in the RFP. It's really to find. There's not necessarily anything wrong with our existing banking relationship, but it's to maximize the rate of return we're getting and to minimize the expenses that we're paying for our banking relationship as part of our fiduciary duty. And so every once in a while it does make sense to go out and look and make sure that we're competitive.
Nothing wrong with going out to see what else may be available.
Right.
In the interest of disclosure, I should say that my cousin Michael Seymour is vice president of Franklin Savings Bank. Now, I don't know if that makes any difference whatsoever here, but I should say it just the same.
Okay, that's good to know. I wasn't aware that there are any relationships. That's good. So I'll take those downstairs, and I'll be downstairs for a while working on the payables, and otherwise, if you need me, you know where I am.
All right, thank you, Tim. Okay, we have a couple of real simple things, as we know that a lot of people... Here's your knife back, thank you. Mrs. Frenette, 2 doors up from the town hall, has passed away.
Oh, that's sad.
I was talking with my neighbor as I was getting my lawnmower out, so I could go over and do their lawn for them because it really needed it. Little Connor Young, Kirk Young's son, overheard the story I was telling his mom, and he piped up and he said, "I'd really like to be a part of that." So he asked his mother if he could go and come over and mow the lawn. So kudos to Connor Young for...
How old is he?
12 maybe?
Yeah.
11 or 12.
How's Mr. Fredette doing?
He's not doing well, and understandable, he's very overwhelmed. But
Certainly.
and while we were doing that, has anybody noticed the flag? It's torn and it's battered and it's...
Not here? Or his?
It's torn, it's battered, and it's ripped, and it's knotted, and so on. And
Have we another
I
flag?
was going to ask the Legion if they wouldn't mind donating one to him, and I had a conversation this afternoon with Emily LaPlante on another issue, and she needed to go find some flags, but she came back for with a flag for Mr. Finette, and the PD's going to put it up for them either tonight or tomorrow. So,
Can I just ask where that flag is made? Where was the flag made?
Looks like a good one, USA.
made in USA,
All right.
Looked like a good one.
came from Billy's.
Nothing bugs me more than a flag that's made in China.
Something just wrong with that, isn't there?
Yes, it is. I mean, it's the least, if you're gonna buy Chinese goods all the time, at least you should buy an American-made flag.
There's an issue that was brought to our attention this morning that the police are following up on, and that is homeless people staying and using Riverfront Park. They're plugging their laptops into the power there at night, and so the police are reviewing the tapes and going to talk to them about that.
Should the park commissioners consider shutting that power off? Because quite frankly, is it necessary for everyday use of the park?
I don't think so.
Would that require somebody actually going to turn it on, turn it off?
Well,
Probably.
typically, I mean, when
But,
somebody
I mean, if
rents
you
the
have- if
park,
you have
we
a
go and do a
function-
pre-inspection, and it could be turned on at that
I
time.
think that should just be brought to the Parks
And then on.
Commissioner's
So-
attention and let them decide.
Let them
whether
deal
they-
with it.
Right. I did
Meeting is
call,
next
At the same
Tuesday.
time,
I
if
did
the-
call Bob and tell them that the police are following up on it. And so,
Because if I go over there during the day and want to use the electricity for my radio or my computer or whatever, you know, I should have access to it if we have it, I would think.
right.
No? Maybe?
No, then the
Well, on
town
the
is.
other hand, though, how do you limit that usage?
You don't.
Should be.
You either get it or you don't.
That's the point. If somebody goes over there for an hour or two, that's one thing. But if somebody goes there, say, from 7 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night, and they're charging up phones and computers and whatnot,
I think that's probably a pretty random event.
how do you control that? Because the
It's
light
pretty
bill
Well, the
has
other
been
thing is
high.
also, if they're sitting there and they're going online, that means that they're jacking into somebody's Wi-Fi that's unprotected.
That there is turning on a laptop or charging up a cell phone as opposed to the lighting is negligible.
Probably.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The lighting costs.
Oh, the lighting, this lighting is nuts.
Well, the lighting at Riverfront Park, if you plug a cell phone in to charge it, it's negligible. It's like,
Compared to the lights, yeah.
like maybe 0.5%. So the other thing also, two things came before us this week. One was last week we talked about the claim at 61 Business Park Drive for the water damage, and we decided we would go ahead and put a claim in that, and then let some professional decide exactly what it was and what it wasn't. Well, Catherine checked, and there's no claim put in, so I asked her to please put a claim in.
When was that reported? A week ago, at least. Over a week ago.
So there's no claim put in, so Catherine is going forward and putting a claim put in for us.
Thank you, Catherine.
We have issue that we had asked on a legal matter that came before us for the Wachovia mortgage versus, and we had to appear, and you motioned for me to sign it as a chair, and Scott McGuffin had offered to do this for us for free, and Joyce went ahead and did it. We got a notice back from the town, from the court, saying that it was not complete, and we're still in, where's
Wasn't our
the...
directive to have Scott McGuffin do it?
Yes. I just find the one from Scott here, but let me dig through this. Okay, I got it. And The office is in receipt of your appearance filed in the above caption. However, you are not in compliance with Superior Court Rule 14C. Please review the enclosed copy of said rule and file with this court the necessary and appropriate documents. Please note that in regard to Rule 14C, rather than a power of attorney, you must file a resolution of the board signed approved by the Board of the Selectmen. If you do not comply with these requirements, you will be considered in default, and the court may issue orders that affect you without your input.
What's the time frame on that? We're not,
All right, Scott McGuffin has been contacted, and within hours, we have a whole, it's all done, fixed.
Your brother. See you tonight. Is tonight on Channel 11? 9?
At 11.
Oh, dyslexics.
It's okay, I was paying my part of my sewer betterment fee that I shouldn't have to pay.
Unresolved.
take it up with the sewer commission.
Okay,
Okay,
you can voice it here in public if you want.
sure.
Everybody sees it. All right.
There's going to be attorneys hired.
Okay, the building permit for the Veterans Home, the check is still, we are still holding it. Do we want to have Catherine deposit the check? This is the one on the generator.
We were waiting from a letter, a response from,
Right.
has that letter gone out?
But do we know that the letter's gone out?
I don't remember.
Well, I
Well,
remember seeing
we
the letter.
did sign something.
I remember seeing it.
I remember signing the first one, I just don't on the second.
Oh, we signed something last week.
Yeah, that said no.
So then my thoughts are that we hold it until we get something back.
Yeah.
Let's hold it at least one more week. Catherine,
And I don't
could you
want-
make a call over there? Because probably the fire commissioners may not have met.
I thought they met last night. No?
No, we should,
Tuesday.
we
No,
should,
Thursday.
Oh.
Selectmen's meeting.
Oh,
no, we,
I thought they met on Tuesdays.
They postponed it. It was notified to us as a fire commissioner meeting.
oh, I didn't realize this one. The, from from Gregory and Elizabeth Stillman has sent in a donation for our air conditioners for our seniors.
Is that one of mine? Yes, nice.
And then Thomas and, this is from the office staff at AutoServe. The employees bought an air conditioner.
Well, can't pass it
Oh,
along.
I'm sorry. I was just excited. I sent a bunch of those out.
Okay, and this is a letter that we got from Selectman Swanscott over in Northfield, because Catherine was under the understanding each and every reservation that she makes, Northfield gets a copy of it.
Oh.
And I thought, my understanding is once they've signed the necessary documents, that they really don't care to see each and every document. They just want to have it online. So her reply was, "Hi, Catherine. When you send the application to us, has it been approved by the Selectmen of Tilton, and have you already established that date is available?"
she's new. She probably just wants to know.
The answer is no and yes.
Why wouldn't the other two selectmen inform her?
Maybe she didn't ask them. I don't know, Catherine.
I mean,
May I
it's
see
not
that?
like we're going to sit here and approve every
I
application to
see-
use
see
the
her?
park. It wouldn't be up to us.
We do approve.
The Right, it's the selectmen's approval that we do it, and yes, we do. So we need to just reply back to her and just say that, yes, that it is, and,
Yes, per the agreement
and yes, the date is
between
always,
the two governing bodies.
right,
And yes, the date is free, otherwise
right.
wouldn't get that far.
And the dates are posted, and the calendar is posted on our website, tiltonnh.org. Take a peek. So we do have this application to sign for that. Okay. One of the housekeeping items during the week is that, I'm going to make a motion, we could talk about it. I'd like to make a motion to purchase a rental of a 40-foot trailer from Tilton Trailer for $600 for the year, and place it inside 61 Business Park Drive, and where it will be locked with a kryptonite lock and held for the sole purpose of evidence storage.
Second?
We have a motion and second. Now discussion?
Storage container, correct? Not trailer.
Yes.
Trailer implies there were wheels under it, and there are not.
They refer to them as
Trailers.
trailers.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they're wrong then, aren't they?
You have a good point.
I love quibbling. Okay, then.
I don't.
Well, we're at opposite ends of the spectrum and the table.
All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
I need discussion. I mean,
I asked for discussion, and we weren't talking about
you had a
it.
quibbling conversation going. What determined the need?
Well, if you think about what we were going to do with the room up there, we were going to have to put plywood in the ceiling, some type of mesh or bars on the walls, change the door and the lock. The entrance, we would have to key other parts of the building, rekey other parts of the building. I'm sure that that cost would be significantly different than $600 for the year, and this suffice with meets all criteria as far as evidence storage. It's locked, nobody can get into it, and it's enough room for them to move their storage into it where they can.
Now, is this only to hold the big bulky items?
Yes.
Or are they able to put smaller things in there?
Well, there'll be enough room to put some of the smaller items in there, some that need not to be under lock and key, the evidence that has to be under lock. The filed things can go into those rooms that we talked about.
Okay. Because the sooner they move their evidence out of that basement that's subject to water, humidity, condensation, the better.
They're trying to move the larger articles out of that room into this trailer/storage
So
compartment.
the storage trailer will be a considerable savings to the town, rather
Yes.
than converting the room.
Rather than converting the room into a security evidence storage area.
Is it a yearly contract, or is it
Yearly
just
contract.
an agreement?
It's an agreement,
So we're committed to a year?
yes. It's for the year.
But it's only $600, so.
Yeah, I know.
The 20-foot was $600, and
I'm trying to think.
the
of
20-foot would be probably filled up in a weekend, and so the 40-foot is the same price, so we went with the 40-foot.
Good call. Okay, I'm good.
All those in favor?
Again?
I would.
Again, all those in favor?
Aye.
Still. I'm still in favor.
Okay. That's done. One more issue with the PDs, the RFPs.
Who had that light bulb go off in their mind? Was it Tim?
What?
To get a storage container as opposed to doing all that work?
No, the PD, the chief.
Good for him.
The RFPs for the police station, I really feel that, this is my opinion and solely my opinion, but others can chime in. I feel that they should be written out, what we want done, and how we want it done, and what the priority is. Because there are some discussions about what was said at the meeting, and it just kind of spiders along, and then conversations happen, and some people don't get the same message twice. A piece of paper designates that each and every person gets the same thing.
Then who's going to design it?
Then, and also, I feel, and I feel strongly about it, that it should go out to all the contractors that we used for the water damage here in Town Hall and for the Grange. Joyce has a list of 12 or 13 local contractors, and I think that we should use those 12 or 13 consistently so that there's no...
We should be able to add to that list.
We could add to it, that's fine, but we shouldn't be picking and choosing who gets what RFPs depending on what job it is. I don't want to be a part of that.
Okay, so we're back to, now we have to design it. Are we paying somebody to design it?
We have to first figure out what we want done first, and that hasn't been answered.
They want to cage in the booking area.
Right.
They want to secure the dispatch area. They're going to build a wall across the backside where there's nothing and put a doorway in it. I have heard no window in the door. And the front wall, it was thought that it was not secure below the bullet-resistant glass, but I have since learned that it is secure.
Okay.
How?
Steel plates.
Didn't make sense to me to have it drywall, you know?
But there's an opening where somebody could
The
slip
slot,
a gun
yeah.
in there. There's a slot. That slot
That
needs
has
to
to
be
be
filled.
addressed. So again, there has to be a design and a list of materials
Right.
if we're going to do an RFP, so who's going to design it?
Who do we know that's capable of designing
Yeah.
in town?
Well, why don't we,
Who are you going to pay?
If we're going to put money in the police station for several years' worth of use anyway,
right,
it seems like we should probably have somebody that really knows what they're doing.
oh, I agree.
Because, I mean, we could Hollywood it, but that's silly.
Do we know
Right.
anybody?
I would think that it's just a Band-Aid anyway, Joe, so Hollywooding it is not silly. I mean, we shouldn't be doing it for the next, fix it for the next 20 years. I mean...
Well, the cage
We
and
don't
booking.
have 20 years use out of that.
No, heavens no.
We're maxed out now.
Right. Well, the cage and booking, didn't the chief or maybe it was Lieutenant one of them, Ryan Martin, one of them was saying that you can actually buy these?
Has to be designed.
It has to be, yeah.
Has to be designed. They're
Okay.
custom-made,
and then they're
they can be
custom-made.
Okay.
prefabricated for your...
Well, they just need dimensions.
Design.
They need dimensions for
Would
that.
have to get
It's got to be
the...
laid out.
Yeah.
Well, I would think that the people that manufacture these things have a design department that would come in and,
For a fee, they probably do.
So what
Well, it's
about
all part of the package.
police officers, lieutenants and chief? They know what the need is and what
not
goes
really-
where. Why
But they're
couldn't
not
they
the
write
ones
it
that are
down?
paying
They're
it.
not builders. You're
They're
going to
not
have
the
them
ones-
choose...
No, it's not going to be schematics, but we didn't do that with the Grange. We need the roof fixed. We didn't have this whole thing. I mean, we got builders.
We had a
that came in and built.
contracted help with the RFP.
If you're going to write up an RFP,
Yeah.
and you want it to be, here it is, this is what we want, you're going to have a list of materials.
Design the building.
You want 2x4 construction, 2-bay construction, 2x6 construction, you know,
No, not that
16-inch on
Oh,
center,
now we're
18-inch
back
on
to hiring a
center.
professional, aren't we?
building. His name, damn it, but the engineer.
You want
tree up there.
you know, sheet rock, you want,
Yes. Yeah, could he, is that something he could do?
you know, whatever is out there that's
Yeah.
for police departments.
I mean, I
We
don't
have
know.
a construction
I'm just
guy in the police department. He
Oh,
was
okay.
building something over
could,
there, or he
yeah.
had built something over
Yeah.
there.
They have gone in and made some alterations, but I suggested
not
that. and
construction
I haven't
guys?
heard that there was any bites on it, so I quite frankly was looking for the cheaper way out and not paying somebody to design it, but, I mean, Pat has a very good point, so if we
Pat?
spend money and have it designed.
Right. We could have everything done.
I don't think we need to spend money to have it designed. What I'm saying is we need to be all on the same page. We didn't design the work at the Grange. We had a contractor help us with the RFP. What we did is we knew what needed to be done, and then we wrote the RFP according to that. According to that. This is what has to be done, this is what has to be done, this is what has to be done. And that was the RFP, and those people bid on that.
Part of the other thing.
As long as they all know that this is what's entailed in the scope of work.
Ever since I've been selectman, it seems like when we put out an RFP for work to be done of this nature, at least one, if not more, of the bidders comes back with something that has something different in nature of the work that was requested. And I think part of it is, in talking with individuals, then they turn around and say, oh, well, you could also do this and this. And it's like, why don't you include that? Well, if the previous people didn't include it, why should we get it from somebody else just because they say you can do that?
Right.
Then we have to go back, and it delays the whole project, and it's...
Well, what if we just said,
That's why if you have an RFP that's specific, you don't have that problem.
We didn't have any problem with the water damage here. We didn't have any issue with the Grange.
Well, there
We
was
didn't
some-
have any
there were
issue.
some-
There was something else
There
prior
are
to that we
differences
had
on
it.
the
Yeah, but
electrical
this,
needs with the grain.
these fans, we had to go back and had questions answered. The one downstairs, it's like things just weren't, I don't know whether it's a case of a contractor, potential bidder comes in and says, oh, well, you could also do this or that, which is something that may not have been thought of, and they say, oh, yeah, why don't you include that? Well, then you get that one bid from that one contractor, and it's totally different than
Right.
what the others bid on because they threw in this other dimension, and it's like, we need to make sure our bids are specific to what we want, and it's like, here's what we want. We don't want the other. No, if you want to do a proposal that's separate to that, we can take that under advisement, but this, we want you to propose on this.
Well, the way you control that is the same individual takes each one of the persons around.
Right.
Instead of three
But I mean,
or
it's
four
still,
different people.
it doesn't
That's
matter.
what happened with the RFP for this building is different people.
Yeah, but
took
it
them
doesn't,
around.
sometimes that doesn't matter. It can always be the same person, but you got that one contractor who throws a different dimension into it by saying, oh, well, do you ever think about you
And
could do
that's-
this or that?
And then you say to the contractor, that's why if one
Well,
person takes them around, you say to that contractor, we want everyone to bid according to the RFP.
Yeah, that
If you
one
want to
person
give
has
us
to
an
do that.
addendum to the RFP that would include this, please feel free to, but your bid should be as per the RFP.
I sure don't want to spend a lot of money on this.
well, I don't want to spend any more than we have to, but we have to
We're
make it
not, I
safe.
mean, the budget's so tight as it is, trying to figure out where the money's coming from is going to be.
The nice thing about sending contractors over there and simply telling them what you want to do is you get the benefit of ideas from other contractors. And they may not be bidding on the exact same thing, but you have different contractors who will come up with better ideas and designs than others. And I would think that that would give you some better idea of who to choose to build it.
Then I think that if we're going to go that route, then we need to take a list of what we actually want to have done, and then one person call the 12 or 13 contractors that we've been including in on jobs in Tilton, and if anybody else has any to add to that, they're welcome to add to it. And then we do a walkthrough.
So write an RFP that's specific basically to the finished project.
But you're saying we don't have to write an RFP. We can walk through and say, this is what needs to be done. These are local contractors.
Yeah, you could write down a scope of work.
Right, with scope of work, this is what needs to be done. You bid it, and we'll open the bids in such and such a date.
Wall goes here, door, no window.
Yeah,
Does it have to be a 3-inch blast door with a R17? No. No. Door goes here, no window.
no, it's a problem when you're, it'd be one thing if we're talking about enclosing a space here for, say, another office, but when you're dealing with the police department, it's like, in the back of my mind, I'm going, so do we need an engineer? Because if we're trying to secure this, the normal materials would not work.
Right, you need to know that.
You're talking about building the additions to this to a higher standard than the original construction. No.
Well, you have a wall, there isn't, the backside, there is no wall at all, so you're being
know there is.
We're trying to make this, we're trying to, my understanding is that we're trying to do this because it's an immediate safety issue and an immediate contamination issue, which is not helping our
The
situation with
evidence
court
of the
cases.
cage around the holding area I can see as immediate issues. The wall behind the dispatcher, not so much.
Oh, it is.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
immediate
they've already
safety.
had.
They've
what,
already had,
Because they have no cage. If they had a cage that they were locked in,
the people coming down the hall and going after the dispatch people,
not if they're locked in a cage.
they're walking
have-
down the hallway.
They have to leave the caged area to use the bathroom.
Right.
So they're not always in the cage. They're
And
only
they
in
have
the
to get
cage.
into the station.
They should be under the control of an officer if they're outside the cage. That's the whole point of having a cage, right?
It's an issue.
Even the best
We have
officer
had
can
three
be
people,
overwhelmed.
Joe, we have had three different people look at that building, and the very top priority on that building was the caged-in booking area in the dispatch.
Right.
Closing in that dispatch, that is an issue, safety issue for them.
Okay.
That's one of the top priorities. And that's sheetrock and a door. It's sheetrock and a door.
But is it sheetrock and a door, or is it some other more,
Oh, that's what LGC said, it's sheetrock and a door. Would suffice.
Did you get this list? I didn't know whether,
I got it.
with all the
You
different
have.
things that need to be done? Okay.
carpentry experience? Do you want to write out a scope of work, Pat?
No, I don't want to be responsible for it.
Well, I can give it a shot tomorrow. I can come down and sit down with Ryan. He's been kind of, or somebody from the PD.
I'll be glad to help, but I don't want to be the sole person responsible for it.
All right. I'll call him up in the morning and try to set something up for the day. And let's call it a scope of work. It's less formal, but it's the same thing.
Right.
Scope of work is part of an RFP. Catherine, do you have access to Joyce's list? I gave her the list. I think it's in my computer someplace.
I was going to say, I think if you have an old RFP, she always attached the list to that.
When you took the two people that you've already taken around, what are the things that you've told them?
Just exactly what we discussed here. I didn't take them around, I sent them over and had Ryan Martin take them around because he was the one we discussed it with.
So Ryan would be the one to, because it has to be consistent with what they're sending in an estimate on already.
Right, and he's the one that we met with when we went over there, that's who we spoke with. So that's
And he was
why.
very knowledgeable about the issues, certainly.
Right,
Right.
and one of our reports is from him, so that's why, to be consistent, we'll keep going with him. And those two that he took around are on that list.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it's in my computer somewhere.
Okay.
Otherwise, when I get home, I'll go through my emails and find the list. Because I know she sent it out. I've seen it.
Well, she'll be back Tuesday anyway, right?
I probably have the list anyway for, with the Grange. I think I've got the,
Yeah, you may very well. Oh, let me look. I think I have,
with the list of, I'll be more than, I'm pretty much free most of the day tomorrow, so I can help wherever.
Is this the list from Lieutenant Martin? No?
No, this is a contractor's list I made up for Joyce a while
Sorry.
ago. 99% of them are from Tilton or Northfield, or at
Tilton,
least,
Northfield area.
you know, the owner lives in the town of Tilton and his
No,
business
that
might
list,
be-
yeah.
You know, his office might be in one of the neighboring communities, but there is some connection to the town of Tilton.
Okay. Next is the Tilton Northfield Fire Department workshop that we wanted to attend last night. It came to us in an email that, you know, I thought long and hard about this last night after I left, and I was pretty angry when I left, but it came to us to attend a work session. The commissioners are meeting with the Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid Association to discuss their services budget and the apportionment formula that they use. And so we were invited, and we were told that it was at Northfield Town Hall at 5:30, and then later on we were told that it was changed to 6 o'clock. And what we walked into was a selectmen's meeting, a Northfield Selectmen's meeting, and the fire commissioners were guests. And what happened was, apparently what happened, was that the selectmen in Northfield decided to kill two birds with one stone and have their meeting at the same time they're meeting with the Lakes Region Mutual Aid, and decided to have it as a selectmen's meeting. But what transpired, I thought, was the content alone made you upset, because it was, you know, all about them and wanting to put it on to the Tilton Northfield Fire District, and then us paying 64% of their bill. But they had complete control of the meeting. Complete control of the meeting. And
That's the difference between workshop and selectmen's meeting, because some people may say, well, you got to go over there. But a workshop, being much more informal, is a discussion. It's like a round table discussion, and people have input and not. And
Didn't work like that last night, huh?
no, it didn't.
the meeting, as Pat said, was completely controlled by the by the selectmen of Northfield. And
the questions were controlled, the answers were controlled, and who got to speak were controlled. Everything was controlled. And I had my hand raised for 10 minutes, and Chairman Zeminski looked at me and said, I think we should hear from the fire commissioners and what their thoughts were. And I found that deplorable, absolutely deplorable. And unless Selectman Dawson spoke out of turn, she was not going to be recognized either.
I was rude, Pat was polite.
You didn't speak out of turn, though.
I knew I wouldn't be heard if I didn't, so as I said, I will admit, I was rude, and Pat was very polite. And I'll tell you, he looked at her, I watched him, their chairman, as he panned the room, would stop and hesitate on her for, a few seconds and move on, and she sat there with her hand up.
And Selectman Bloom said, she's
Yes.
waiting to be heard, and he still kept on, and I still had my hand raised.
And then he did. He completely changed the topic that Pat was going to speak to, and he said, well, I now have a question I want to present to the fire commissioners.
It was totally controlled. So we walked into a Northfield Board of Selectmen meeting, not a Tilton Northfield Fire District meeting, which we thought we were doing. And so, shame on the fire department for not letting us know that the situation had changed. I think we could have been a little bit better prepared, and I just found it unconscionable. We're trying to work so hard.
Did the fire department know what the rules were going to be before they walked in there?
I'll tell you, Fire Commissioner Gallant did not know that it was a selectmen's meeting until he walked in those doors. I can tell you that. He was just as surprised as we were. But I have to say it, and I'm glad I'm saying it as part of this record, it was unconscionable the way the Board of Selectmen in Tilton were treated.
It was
It's so sad to hear that.
It was very...
It's particularly sad because we just came off of Old Home Day, 2 towns,
One
one community. We worked so well together. It was a great time. Everybody really had a wonderful time. The committees worked well together. It was really super. And then we're not recognized. I don't know.
That Old Home Day Committee is an excellent committee.
After getting invited there.
Those people work very hard.
Oh, the Old Home Day people?
Very hard.
Oh, golly, yes. I can't say enough good things about Peg Shepherd and that whole crowd. They were wonderful. They certainly were helpful and energetic. They did a great job. Indeed.
But that was interesting last night to walk into that. As Pat said, had we known the venue had been changed, our expectations of what we would have been able to pull out of that meeting were different. It was interesting. The rudeness was
Right up there.
kind of amazing.
It seems like it was one particular individual.
It's in the rule, we have to sign.
Might have been 2.
Yeah, because the park commission is usually signing, it's not the park commission.
It is.
And the river gets wider.
If you don't mind, I would love a copy. I can leave it in the FYI, Catherine, of the donation, but we're sending out thank you notes for the donations.
I sent out about 30 of those letters
Yeah,
to businesses.
great.
People I know, people.
So if you leave it in the FYI, I can get the information, okay. Okay, that's the park thing that needs to be. And we have to decide who's going to do a walkthrough on the park.
On a regular basis or specifically?
When is it?
Each item.
July 9th?
I won't be in town, so I can't do it.
I'll do it.
Downtown, too. I would,
Saturday.
it's a Saturday. I would like to go with somebody that's familiar with what doing it.
I'll do it, okay.
Okay.
And what time? Oh, we'll have to call her. We'll have to make a copy of that so I can call her and set up a time.
The date of use is from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
On the 9th?
Wedding.
1 to 3 on the 9th? Mm-hmm. Okay, and the name?
Haley Moore. It's a pretty name.
Oh, do they
Moore?
need someone to marry him? I can marry him.
And is there a phone number on there?
5. 5. Couple of ones.
Yeah, 286 something, 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 something.
I love the movies. 555-1111.
Pass that down that way.
Here you go.
That one.
Yeah, I want to look at that one. That's kind of a nice thing.
Is there an opening in the zoning board?
For an alternate, yes. And he agreed to do it, so that's why he's in
Okay.
Arthur Mass.
Do you want to be Arthur Damas?
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Good. So, you want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Arthur Damas to be an alternate on the zoning board of adjustment.
Second?
Does he have any experience?
No.
in planning or zoning?
No.
Is he able to attend regular meetings?
Yes.
Yes.
Unless it's snowing that night.
Yeah, if it's snowing, forget it. He's going to be out on the roads.
But then again, if it's that bad,
Yeah.
it might not be a meeting
Right.
either.
A motion's been made and seconded to appoint Arthur Demas Jr. to the Zoning Board of Adjustment as alternate member. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we sign this after he gets sworn in.
I know you can sign it now, and I'll swear him in and sign it and give it to Cindy.
Is this the new form?
What?
This is not the new form.
Did she get copies of the new form?
This is not the new form.
Should make a copy of that.
Move from there
Downstairs.
to here.
I think it's all the way
Go
around.
up.
Oh, I was going to say,
Coming in
we
quiet.
paid.
Yeah.
I think it's all the way around.
Why don't you let me have that, and
And
I'll...
what we don't know is that
Copies so we have
particular
it when we do our
landlord could own property in Tilton then.
That's
looking at-
totally true.
Yeah, but this one's already been signed by her, so...
Okay. You know, I was thinking that until our meeting is up, until our Tilton Senior Center is up and running, perhaps maybe we can just hook that copier up there for the use up here, just for temporary.
You might find we don't want to give it up.
Oh, yeah, you will. You will.
Oh, no. No, my whole weekend was quite dismal. Oh, thank you. It was, I don't even want to talk about that weekend.
Also, I wanted the board to know that the next, after Sunday morning, I met up with Jerry Davis, and he, early in the morning, he let me know that he did a walk through at Riverfront and picked up trash after the fireworks. So I let Vicki know that that was done, and then Jane and I personally went in the afternoon and picked up trash, so
Thank you.
thank you, Jerry.
Chief?
I'm looking for the summary.
Lieutenant Martin, are you available in the morning?
Hot date.
Oh, this is
I need to
good.
sign
Good
that.
stuff.
Yeah. The
Well,
green
she
one?
hadn't, so I'm gonna
Catherine and I.
give it to her. and
Have
I'd
a
kick it to
conversation
you.
about what needs to be done down there for construction, the booking area and the dispatch. You don't want me to
You're
pick a
looking
time,
really
it'll be like
unsure
6:30 in the
somehow.
mornings. What's your, what is your convenience? 10-ish?
10?
10-ish, anyone? Sorry.
Does that work for you?
Good evening, Officer Henry. How are you? Good.
Thank you, Sandy.
Back in.
May I see the, this is the one, and Thank you.
Oh, while you're going on, give that to the chief. Thanks.
Do you know how to get to mine? I'll do it. Catherine, before I forget, I don't have a copy of the signed memorandum of understanding that was signed between the two towns, that two-page document pertaining to the Island Park. I would like a copy of that. I don't know if anybody else does. So I think we'd all like copies, just so we know what's going on. Ooh, we did it again. It's all right, they can sign that already. This should be filled out before we sign it.
Trying to go around. We are,
The other side is.
Term from such and
Oh,
such,
Joyce
such and
adds
such
that.
to
Joyce adds that.
whereas our vacancy as a member of, given under our hands this day of. So this should be filled out before we sign it.
Well, I can put everything in there except just the term. I don't know what term she's going to give him.
Okay, next on our agenda. The Police Department. So Steve, Matt, you're up. Come on up.
First thing we like to just get out of the way is the signing of the CBA, considering it goes into effect tomorrow. So, are you all set with the CBA as things stand between all of our meetings and yada yada? Two copies.
Just want me to send it around, Pat, or you want to start over there?
Yep, start here. Oops, I signed where you are. You have to make that P into an S.
How about if I put Plessner, comma, Sandra? Okay. Oh, sorry.
It's the line above your name.
Yeah.
Hello, nephew.
Is it?
How you doing?
Good.
Talked to Dad the other night.
Oh, yeah. Is he coming up?
Your uncle is quite excited.
Yeah. Good.
Either way, I would have signed it, but I'm just curious.
When's he coming?
In July, he's just not sure.
That's gotta be Pat's.
Left over from the parade.
This is the June 15th one that I have read.
Right here. Mm-hmm. Didn't know they made these anymore.
Oh, Dumbo?
Dum-dums.
They're making them every day.
No, that's dumbest.
Okay.
What is for you?
You take that one, I'll take this one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Catherine, I'm going to put the signed contract in here. We'll need a copy of that. Okay.
You want me to give that to her, Pat?
No, she picked it. Okay. So you were going to come back with some information for us and talk to us about what your feelings were. You said that 10-hour shifts saved overtime. And you were going to give us some information pertaining to that. So you have the floor.
Our spokesperson tonight, unfortunately, his wife had some cardiac issues and was placed in the hospital. So Officer Trott, who was going to be here tonight to speak on that issue, he has to be home with his family. So,
She all right?
yeah, we think she's going to be okay. She went in and they admitted her. So,
Very scary.
yeah. So she just had to.
What a young person.
So,
Yeah.
I know in speaking with the chief, we've attempted to get our heads together a couple of times this week between schedules and everything that's going on. We haven't been able to really sit down and put together what we feel would be an adequate presentation to the town, not on behalf of the patrol, but in speaking with the agency as well. So I know that we had put a moratorium on the canceling of the 10-hour shifts. The only thing I can ask is that with the schedule already having been posted through Labor Day, and where families have vacations, plane tickets, hotels, schedule's been presented, to the department through the end of summer. The only thing that I can ask at this point is that we just hold to where the schedule stands through the summer and allow people to continue with the plans that they've already made, and then review this in the fall when everybody's had a better chance to review it.
How would the 10-hour versus 8-hour shifts pertain to vacation time?
Scheduling. Some guys may have scheduled to take trips with their families on their days off. That's already been posted, as opposed to whether they're using paid time off or not. So whereas effective tomorrow, the schedule needs to be posted 8 weeks in advance, still needing 7 days prior notice to change the tour duty. Schedule as it is currently within the with our system is posted more or less 8 weeks out. So whereas there's a scheduling where people have booked vacations, I know that we have a couple people that have taken vacations starting next week.
But again, vacations and scheduled hours to work would not conflict with one another.
Well,
Unless you're talking about a weekend vacation utilizing, and I'm looking at, there's two of the shifts, two of the 10-hour shifts that encompass the weekend.
yeah. Well, everybody's weekend isn't per
Well, I
se
guess actually that one.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like my weekend coming in July will be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So where people have been able to view the schedule.
We don't have a shift that's got Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm sorry, I'll be the midnight officer in July.
Yep, there's one.
Yeah. So whereas all officers plan their vacations accordingly, whether it be on their days off or whether vacations being using paid time off.
But administratively, I think that they could schedule around those sorts of things.
Yeah.
If we determine to go back to having just 8-hour shifts. It'd be up to the administration to work around that to the best of their ability.
It just costs, let's say the officer's got 3 days scheduled off and he uses 1 day off to get 4 days. They go back to 8 hours, now he's going to use 2 days off. So if he doesn't have the paid time off, now what's going to happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many officers right now are on 10-hour shifts? Patrol officers?
We have 2 midnights,
Before.
a day shift. We have three, maybe 4 guys on a 4 and 3 schedule. The other guys are cover shifts or 5 and 2. So it's a split. We're not solely a 4 and 3 schedule. I know that prior to this spike in overtime, overtime really hasn't been an issue in accordance with the schedule or the coverage. And there was a lot of thought and effort that was put in from administration to patrol to go to that coverage in those shifts. It was a split. It was kind of a happy medium between the two, where there was a few 4 and 3s and then some 5 and 2s as well. So, to quote the chief, it was kind of a perfect storm where there was a guy on vacation or a guy in training, or certain instances that all came to be. The planets aligned, if you will, and it generated some overtime. But if you can review what's happened in the past, there hasn't been this issue, so much to the point where it has had to come to your attention, where there was a thought or a necessity to try to take away a 10-hour shift. So it's 10 hours, then what about 9 hours? You know what I mean?
Well, one of the things that happens is if somebody calls in on a 10-hour shift, typically it's hard to find somebody to work that 10-hour day.
but we're not
So we
even-
replace it with someone who will work an 8-hour day, so now you have 2 hours that really isn't covered. That would have been, had that person not called in. That's just one of the smaller problems. I mean, there is issues with it.
But they don't, but when they fill that, they don't fill the 10-hour shift anyway. They're only filling 6 of it.
They're only filling a portion of it, and that's what I mean. So in essence, when somebody calls in and can't work their 10-hour shift, we don't get the coverage we normally would have gotten had that person work the 10-hour shift.
And not getting coverage has been your number one priority to be before us and to begin with, is not having the right coverage.
Well,
So we do have issues with the 10-hour shift.
and our concern is that in the kind of the point we brought forth last time was that it's not that we're not having adequate coverage with our 10-hour shifts, and what we have is that we're also waiting to get that to that guy. We still need that extra guy, that open position, to make that 5 and 2 schedule work with the proper coverage as well. So,
Quite frankly, I personally can't see, looking at the 2 proposed schedules, the 8-hour schedule and the one that has the 10 hours, there are 6 shifts in each that have to be covered for a 40-hour week.
And nobody's presented any 8-hour shift coverage to the patrol.
Well, I have one in front of me, and I'm just saying that looking at them, it requires the 6 officers on either one to fulfill a week's long worth of shift coverage for a 40-hour shift for each band.
Right.
So given our roster, I am baffled as to why we still need another full-time officer with all of our police personnel.
Particularly when you have a situation, as we have just come before you, you don't have the full-time officer that you were promised. You have 11 weeks of a patrol officer taken out of the roster and put into detective, and you survived very nicely.
I come down here to speak on behalf of the patrol members, and
we welcome that.
And I also come down here to speak on behalf of the quality of life issues, the morale, why we're requesting that 10-hour schedule, 4 days on, the 3 days off. You know, when you're doing less with more, that extra day off definitely gives you a little more pep in your step, keeps you charging forward. You're handling more call volume with less guys. You know, the stress level does go up. And so where we've been maintaining with that 4 and 3 and that 5 and 2 split coverage, with 5 or 6, we're still handling it all.
We have 8 officers that should be covering those patrol shifts.
Sorry?
We have 8 personnel that should be covering those 6 shifts.
Which 8 officers are those?
I keep wanting to call them by nicknames. Officer Ashburn, Wisensee, Morrison, Patton, Adams, Salmon. Must be Henry and Trott.
Yeah. I know that typically they prefer the supervisor.
And that does not include the coverage we get using part-timers. So now you have 8 full-timers to cover 6 shifts, plus you have part-timers to fill in the gaps.
The supervisors aren't meant to cover shifts.
I was told the supervisors would cover shifts when they became supervisors.
Lieutenants or
And they're
corporals?
allowed to cover shifts,
Corporals.
right?
Actually, no, in the contract, if you're talking like an overtime shift that comes available, it only comes...
I'm
You just
talking
talk
about
about
patrol
regular
shift.
I'm just talking regular shift.
Yeah,
I'm talking about a
like
patrol
The
cover
overtime is
calls.
its own animal. I mean, that's its own.
Right, no. Yeah, they are out there to help cover calls. That's their job, is to help cover calls. Typically, they prefer them not to answer calls and to supervise. Supervisors do. They do help pick up the slack. You know, are we managing without that full-time guy? We're doing our best. You know, the big primary concern is in 2 areas. You know, we would like that extra guy, and we'd also like to stay with our current schedule.
Everybody stop talking.
I think that you've come in, you've brought in some good points. I think that it's up to the board now to look at it, digest what you've said.
As for the 8-hour schedule that was presented, the Board of Selectmen, and not even to the patrol, it's going to be directly affecting. Did we get a copy of that?
You got a copy the night you came to us. It was handed right to you. I'll be more than happy to make you a copy of it, but
you know what?
when we were in the meeting...
For whatever reason, if I left with it,
Yeah.
I don't have it.
It's awful not to have copy capability up here. Pardon?
Catherine, you want to make a copy of this so that...
Isn't that little further machine a photocopier as well?
Oh, I don't know. There's issues with it. There's 3 copiers up here and no copier capability upstairs.
Well, that one over there just eats your paper.
Oh, really?
Do you have any intentions of presenting to us in the next couple of weeks what you intended to present to us tonight? Because I can't guarantee you personally as a selectman that I won't vote in the next couple of weeks to change the shift from 10 to 8. I mean, I do have issues with it.
I apologize.
No,
Officer Trot,
under the situation.
was coming in, and he just had a baby 4 days ago. So our meeting time has been limited, and then with the family emergency, all I can ask is that we stretch out the moratorium.
But again, do you have intentions maybe in 2 weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. I know that.
I don't want.
I know that Officer Trot's out on FMLA next week, and the following week he is back in action. And so if we could.
The 16th or something like that.
And
I think the 14th. Today's the 30th. Next week is the 7th. So on the 14th, we revisit this.
I'm not in favor of pushing this out again. We've pushed this out twice already.
that was my next question.
The board has made a decision and we pushed it out for additional information. I think this is the peak time of the season. This is when it's more important to have the coverage. If we push it out more, we have to give them a 7-day. We have to give the union notice
So
for
we would
change in
be
schedule,
3
so
weeks.
it's pushed out even further. And now we're talking, getting close into September before it's implemented, and that's when the busiest time of the year for travelers and tourists are gone.
I'd like time to think about it, personally, to consider this.
I mean, with all due respect, just immediately looking at the schedule that's been put forth to me, you know, if you got a day guy that calls out, you're covering all 8-hour shifts because you don't have a 7 to 5 guy, or I'm sorry, a 9 to 5 guy. So if your day shift calls out, you got to cover 8 hours of overtime that day. Okay, because you don't have any overlapping coverage. And with the other schedule, we had overlapping coverage, so you were only filling 4 to 6 hours.
We have overlap.
So if you go on Monday-
There's overlapping coverage on that 8-hour shift.
You have 7 to 3, and then you have a 3 to 11. So if the 7 to 3 guys bangs out on Monday...
But you have a 9 to 5.
No, we
No, you
don't.
don't.
It's etched out.
It's etched out because we don't have that man.
You have
That's
3
the extra
to
man that we...
3 to 11, and then you have 5 to 1. And we were cautioned not to talk about when we have
Coverage
limited
in public.
coverage in public, because we are televised, or...
So can we vote to go to non-public?
Well, in this particular instance, we are only talking about a hypothetical.
That's correct.
We are not talking
But
about...
if we implement it,
either way,
if we
that wouldn't be
implement it, it is no longer hypothetical. I think in the interest, if we're going to continue this discussion, that it should be non-public. Just to be safe.
If we're going to continue this and make it a non-public and then continue it in 2 weeks, and then continue it in 2 weeks from there, that's going to be...
But we may not address
We're
it
gonna-
again after this evening. That's also a choice we can make. But if they're here and are willing to discuss the shifts, I think we should give them that opportunity. But if they're here, they are here.
I hear a motion.
Oh, I'd like to make a motion to go into non-public.
Second.
Which one is it? First
Oh,
one?
you have to read it.
Safety, it's I. It is...
I guess C? No?
I.
Aye.
Safety. Of the public. Just say I, safety of the public.
Oh. Okay, make a motion to go into non-public as number I, consideration of matters relating to the preparation for and carrying out of emergency functions, including training to carry out such functions, developed by local and state safety officials that are directly intended to thwart a deliberate act that is intended to result in widespread or severe damage.
Safety.
Safety, okay.
General term of safety.
All right, okay, general term safety.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
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 No.
Chief?
Go get your gavel.
I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes permanently as they pertain to personnel.
Second?
All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
In terms of the chief of police turning out, if you have an issue or something, I know he would turn out if there was a kitten stuck up a tree, because that's the kind of guy he is. Especially if it was a kitten.
we're going to take a 5-minute recess.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, I found a new toy.
If you break that glass, you are in so much.
Can't prove that he paid that.
I'll let you guys know about your little fence.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Better bug spray
Yeah.
and some food for me.
And bring in the cold beer. That's the only way she's getting there. You already told you that.
For me, for you.
Hey, I'll bring it for both, as long as I can drink
Just
it.
saying. And this is
I don't care where it comes from.
No drinking
I like
and
it.
driving now.
I like
Let us
having,
know.
oh, that's walking
Okay, so
distance.
you've given up tea and sugar, but you're still on the beer, huh?
Good
I
night.
don't drink that much that often.
Night.
I drink that much.
Oh, you're missing the BMW out there.
No, it's out there.
Oh.
I found out whose it was, so I quit taking it long.
Okay. All right, are we going to make a decision?
Did we come out of non-public while I
Yes.
was...
We did.
We did. We did. We sealed the minutes.
Yes.
We
Didn't
did. Yes, we
I
did.
thought you made the motion to seal.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did, okay, good.
We did. I was just telling Joe he was out of the room.
Had to go, sorry.
Oh. Quite frankly, I'm not prepared to make a decision without talking to administration. I'm still stuck on the comment that Dickie made about vacation. That one just threw me right over backwards.
Okay, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
Nice.
All those in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
that's it?
That's it.
Wow.
Let's go home.
Now let's talk about it.